Hey, I'm Chicken Johnny, and it's that time of year. We're starting to put up some bread and butter pickles, and so I want to show you how we're doing it. We're using a mix because it makes things a little bit easier, and this is what it is. It is Mrs. Wag's bread and butter pickle mix. You use that, and then you use distilled white vinegar and quite a bit of sugar. And we're going to make bread and butter pickles. So let me show you. Mama Goose has got,
hi guys.
yeah, she's got all of the cucumbers cut up right here. They're ready to go, and that's what they look like before we cut them up. This is about, what do we say, about 20 pounds of pickles altogether we had, or 30 pounds?
37 pounds.
37 pounds of pickles, and that's collected over a 1-week period from our cucumber plants. And we'll put these up as bread and butter pickles. We might do another batch of bread and butter pickles later, and we'll definitely do some garlic spears to put on hot dogs. So I'll show you the process as we go. Right now we've got the Mrs. Wag's mix beginning to cook in there. We'll have to stir that up a little bit more. And we've got our jars in the canning bath. They're sitting in there being sterilized. We're going to bring it up to a boil and let them sit there for a few minutes. And I'll give you more details on that as we go forward. So Mama Goose is packing the pickles into the jars, and you're trying to get them in as tight as you can, because as the pickles sit in the brine mixture, they're going to shrink up a little bit. So you want to get them pretty tight in there so that you make sure you're getting enough pickles in there that you get your money's worth. And you want to have it kind of flat on the top so that you can get some, make sure that the brine comes over the whole top of it. Now, you'll notice these pickles were cut with a wavy cutter. And the reason for that is that then when you pack them in, they don't pack tight together, because you do want to make sure that they get brine mixture all the way around them. And that wavy cut helps with that process. Now, I'm going to help Mama pack some pickles. She's got almost 4 jars done. I've got 1 jar done. So I'm going to shut the camera off, and we'll come back when we get to the next step.
All right, we got our jars all filled. Leave a little room at the top.
Half an inch.
Half an inch.
Half an inch of head space.
A half inch head space.
As I fill the jars up, I like to put a little bit in, swish it around, put a little bit more in. This way I'm getting as much of the air out as I can. And then I'm going to top it off a little bit more, but first I'm going to take a knife. I'm going to run it through the sides here and make sure that any air pockets, any bubbles have come out.
You can see the bubbles coming up on the side.
I'm going to take this one pickle out. I think we've got too many in there. And now we'll top this off a little bit. You want to leave approximately a half inch of headspace in the top. Because of the amount of vinegar that we're putting in these, this is not a real highly technical issue. I'm going to get this lid sterilized and warm, and I'm going to wipe the top. Now there's enough vinegar spilled over the top, but you want to wipe this with a little bit of vinegar, and that way you get a good seal and you've got a good sterilized surface. Now when you put your rings on, you want these on firm, but they don't have to be, you don't want to tighten them down real hard. Just give them a little bit of a snugness. That way, as they go into the boiling water, they're able to go into a vacuum. They're able to pump some air out, and then when they cool down, you'll hear the lids snap in saying that they're good. The one thing that I don't like to do is I don't like to put the pickles into the hot water bath until all of the jars are filled. Otherwise you're overcooking some of the pickles. In a way you are, because the brine is boiling, so in a way you're cooking some of them a little bit more. It won't make that big of a difference. But if I were to put them into the boiling water in the canner, they cook, and you don't want that to happen. So let me get the rest of these jars filled, and then I'll show you the next step.
All right, round 2 is coming up. Our pickles and more hot jars. Let's get them filled.
So we've got our bread and butter pickles almost done. One more batch to come out of the canner. And Mama's cutting up the spears so that we can make some garlic spears to put on our hot dogs. And we're doing these in pint jars, so she's cutting them the length of a pint jar and then cutting each one into 6 spears. So we'll show you how we pack the jars a little bit later. So we pretty much finished putting everything together. Mama Goose is making dinner, and behind me you see 45 pints of pickles. Now some of them were the garlic spears and the other ones were the sandwich pickles. So these will be for our own consumption. I'm hoping that most of it is for my personal consumption, but I'm sure Mama Goose will have some, and so will some of our kids. Now, this probably won't be the last batch we put up, and we're thinking about pickling some beets. I don't want you to consider this video to be a how-to can video. There are plenty of those out there, and people who know much more about it than Mama and I do. But take it as an encouragement to go ahead and can up some pickles. We got that pickling mix, and it's really quite easy to do. I did it last year and did 2 batches. One worked out beautifully. And the other batch, I forgot to put the water in. Instead of putting in water, I put in pure vinegar. And I made something that was, well, it was pretty explosive in terms of the flavor, and quite inedible. So follow the instructions, have fun with it, and can up some vegetables. The next thing we're going to do is some beets, and hopefully we'll maybe even do some squash later on in the year. Hey, I'm Chicken Johnny. Mitzer Shem, I'll see you again. Eat your vegetables. And I didn't film any of that. Oh yeah, I did. I did okay on that. All right.